What if everything we have learned about resilience was backwards? That voice in your head that says, push through and stay strong. Let's flip what you know about bouncing back. It's not about how hard you push. It's about something different. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Reinvention Lab, where ambitious women transform loss into legacy. Hosted by Master Certified Life Coach and fellow trailblazer Sandy Linda, this is your space to discover how life's biggest challenges can ignite profound transformation, where grief becomes growth, setbacks become stepping stones, and your unique story lights the way for others. If you're ready to turn life's challenges into opportunities for leadership, legacy, and forward momentum, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Hello, creative humans and fellow trailblazers. How are you? A couple of weeks ago, I found myself in classic Superwoman mode. I was sitting at my kitchen table at 11 p.m., laptop open, phone buzzing with notifications, trying to power through a project deadline as my body needed rest. I told myself I was being productive and strong by pushing through. Sound familiar? This is what most ambitious women do. I thought I was being strong, productive, and ambitious. Instead, I was training my brain to crumble under pressure. I wasn't just losing sleep, I was losing my creative spark. And it hit me. I never want another woman, especially one navigating major life changes, to see that as the model for success. If you're listening now, you face serious challenges. Maybe you have lost a job you love, experienced a personal loss, or watch a business dream crumble. And maybe, like me, you've been told that resilience means enduring whatever life throws at you without catching your breath. Today, we are rewriting that story. Here's what I am covering today. First, I'll share research changing our understanding of resilience, especially for women rebuilding after a setback. Then, I'll discuss the hidden enemy that's making it even harder to recover. And here's a hint. You probably have it nearby. Next, I'll break down why ambitious women find regular resilient advice just doesn't work. I'll also give you a simple, creative recovery framework that you can start using today. By the end of this episode, you'll see that the strongest women aren't the ones who never break. They have mastered the art of creative recharging. Let me set the scene with a familiar story. Last year, I worked with Maria, a grit creative entrepreneur. She just lost her marketing agency after a major client pulled out. It wasn't just her main source of income, it was the business she built from nothing after her divorce. This was her proof that she could stand on her own. What did Maria do next? She switched into full-on endurance mode. She started networking 12 hours a day, applying to every new lead she could find, staying up late to rebuild her portfolio, and chase any project that popped up. She shared never give up hustle posts on LinkedIn, wearing her exhaustion like a medal. After 3 months of this push, Maria called me in tears. She said, "I don't get it. I'm trying harder than ever, but everything's getting worse. I keep messing up simple things. My creativity is gone." She had fallen into the endurance trap. She believed resilience meant pushing through the pain. She thought real strength meant never stopping. That's what we are taught, right? Tough it out with endurance. Never let them see you sweat. Here's what's surprising. Researchers discovered after studying thousands of high performers that Maria's way wasn't just unhelpful, it was flat out backwards. Their research reveals something that challenges our understanding of toughness. The people who really bounce back, perform under pressure, and thrive in tough times aren't the ones who endured the most. They know how to recharge. Think about that for a moment. While Maria was running on empty, trying to prove herself with hustle and sleepless nights, her brain was working against her. The stress, constant work, and late nights drained her creativity and decision making. She wasn't weak. She was exhausted. Her brain was stuck in survival mode. Here's what gets to me as someone who works with high achievers. We've been taught to see Maria's behavior as great. We clap for the woman who never sleeps, takes no breaks, and is always on. We turn self-sacrifice into a badge of honor. But the research tells a different story. The women who turn setbacks into comebacks, they're not the ones who grind harder. They know how to press pause and recover with creative methods. The secret weapon that separates those who rebuild from those who burnt out. Let's break down the research on prioritizing recovery over endurance and why it matters. Scientists use brain scans to study people facing big life stresses like job loss, divorce, health crises, and a loss of a loved one. They found something surprising. The people who bounced back the fastest, their brains lit up in different places during hard times. They had way more action in the left part of the brain that helps handle feelings, solve problems, and find meaning even when life feels messy. Here's the real twist. The brain boost didn't come from grinding harder or pushing through. It happened when people gave themselves space to recover, which I call creative recovery. Think of your brain like a phone. You can keep opening apps, ignoring the low battery sign, and pushing until it dies. But everything slows down and crashes if you don't plug it in and charge it. I know some of you out there have done this before. When we only try to endure, that's what happens. You push and push, hoping to get through. But all the important stuff, like clear thinking, solving problems, and being creative, shuts down. Maria, stuck in endless hustle mode, wasn't lazy or weak. Her brain was so tired, it started working against her. With less focus, more stress, and her creativity faded. Here's the point. Every time you recharge, even for a bit, you're training your brain to be more resilient. Creative recovery isn't a break from strength. It's what real strength looks like. You choose creative recharging over endless endurance. We have seen how your brain needs recovery to stay strong. Now, let's talk about something else that gets in the way. And it might be in your hand right now. When was the last time you went an hour without picking up your phone? Not 10 minutes, but a real break for your mind to wander or rest. If you're like most high-achieving women I work with, that moment is harder to remember than you like to admit. We are checking emails at dinner, scrolling through social media when we can't sleep, keeping our phones next to us just in case. Here's the reality, and I did the research on this. Americans now check their phones 205 times per day. That's once every 4.5 minutes while awake. For high achieving women managing complex lives, it's worse. Every interruption takes about 20 minutes to refocus. Let me say this again. It takes 20 minutes for your brain to retune after a quick glance. Those tiny interruptions add up. When you are trying to rebuild from a loss or tackle a big challenge, you need your brain at its best. But constant distractions prevent recovery. You are running on empty even if you are busy. There's even a name for it: continuous partial attention, which means we are never fully present to anything, including our recovery process. Your brain is always split, waiting for the new ding or buzz. It's exhausting. For women facing big life changes, this is tougher. You feel overwhelmed even when you're not busy. That's your nervous system shouting for a break. The brain changes are measurable and serious. Constant distraction physically changes your brain. You lose focus. Creative problem solving gets harder, and decision making slows down, all when you need those skills the most. You are rewiring your brain to be less resilient. Here's the sneaky part. We celebrate being always available. We make busyness a badge of honor. But the women who bounce back, they learn to protect their attention. Creative recovery isn't just about resting your body. It's about giving your brain space to breathe. Protecting your mental space from constant digital assault. Let's discuss why creative recovery is harder for women, especially after a big setback. Here's a story I keep seeing. Last month, I coached a client who lost her mom after 2 tough years of caregiving. Besides the grief, she was running her business and raising 2 teenagers. I suggested she take time to recover. Before I finished, she interrupted saying, "I can't. My kids and business need me. Staying busy is the only thing holding me together right now." Does that sound familiar? Studies have called it the caretaking trap. Women, especially ambitious ones, often put everyone else first, even when they're running on empty. We've been told that self-care is selfish. A woman's sacrifice and asking for help means weakness. Research shows women who practice strategic selfishness, carving out time for their own recovery, bounce back faster and support others better. Trying to be everything to everyone during a crisis leads to burnout and longer recoveries. Women who try to be everything to everyone during their recovery periods, they show higher rates of complicated grief, longer periods of reduced performance, and were more likely to experience secondary losses. A grief researcher calls it the high achiever paradox: pushing through, being strong no matter what, and endless sleepless nights to endure. But feelings don't work that way. Emotional healing isn't something you can hustle through. Women returning after a setback learn to switch gears. They stop measuring themselves by their actions and start honoring their needs. You learn to separate performance-based thinking from recovery thinking. You see vulnerability as a strategy, not a weakness. Sometimes the strongest thing is admitting you need time to recharge. Let's be real. Many worry that slowing down will make them fall behind or lose their edge. But it's the opposite. Research shows that women leaders who build in creative recovery time are more productive, make better decisions, and come up with more creative solutions. They don't succeed despite recovery, they succeed because of it. Women who thrive during major transitions understand that resilience is a team sport. Here's the truth. Resilient isn't something you have to prove alone. Strong women build support systems. They ask for help. Most of all, they give themselves permission to recover on their own terms. Okay, I know that was a lot to unpack. If you are nodding along or feeling seen, take a second to rate or comment on your podcast app. Your feedback helps more ambitious women find these strategies. Every review does matter. Ready for some action steps that you can start today? Here's a practical recovery framework to build resilience. And I took this from a program that I want to share on here. And this is about creative design recovery, working on 3 levels, which is micro, mini, and macro recovery. First up, micro recovery. These 5-minute breaks can be taken anywhere, anytime. A few minutes can restore up to 60% of your brain's focus if done right. My favorite trick for busy women is the stop method. When you feel peak stress or notice fragmented attention, with the letter S, stop what you're doing for 30 seconds. With the letter T, take a slow, deep breath. Try the 4-7-8 breath. Breathe in for 4, hold for 7, and out for 8. I also learned this in yoga class too. The letter O, observe how you feel. No judgment, just notice. And the letter P, proceed mindfully with your next move. That's it. Big companies like Google use this, and it can lower stress in a few days. Mini recovery is next. This means every 90 minutes, give yourself a real break. 15 to 20 minutes. Step away from work, move your body, sit outside, do something different. If you're facing a setback, try meaning-making time. Write for 15 minutes about how your current struggle might shape your bigger purpose. This practice can lower the emotional weight of a setback by almost half. Studies show this practice can lead to a significant reduction in the negative impact of stress and anxiety. For the biggest impact, macro recovery. You need 1 hour of recovery time daily. Not spent slumped on the couch scrolling, but something refreshing. Nature is best. 5 minutes outside can drop your stress for days. If you can't get outside, look at nature photos or out the window. On the weekend, block out at least 4 hours for environmental change recovery. Go somewhere new. Shake up your routine. Use all the senses: taste, smell, touch, sound, sight. Here's the key. Protect this time like it's your most important meeting. Don't cancel on yourself. Schedule it, defend it, and treat it as non-negotiable. Recovery isn't what you do after everything else is done. It's what lets you handle everything else better. And one last tip. Build a recovery portfolio. Pick 5 activities for different moods. Deep breathing when anxious, walking when having a mental fog, journaling when emotional, music when tired, and reaching out to a friend when alone. With more ways to recharge, you're never stuck. Recovery becomes second nature. You won't feel lost in recharging. You have a toolkit designed for your unique challenges and preferences. Let's pull this all together. I want you to leave here thinking about resilience in a whole new way. First, resilience isn't about how much you can endure. It's knowing when to push and when to recharge. Resilient people try hard, then pause, recover, and go again. Your brain gets stronger with creative recovery practice. Second, your tech habits matter. Those 200 phone checks per day are breaking your focus and stealing your brain's recovery time. Making space from screens isn't about missing out. It's about protecting your energy and focus. Third, if you are an ambitious woman, you might need to do it all, but you don't have to choose between success and self-care. High-performing leaders recognize that true performance and creativity are fueled by recovery. You can start with everything we discussed today: micro, mini, and macro recovery. This is not about theory. It's a toolkit to help your brain, body, and heart recover, recharge, and rebuild resilience. I want you to understand that changing how you think about recovery is about changing how you think about strength. Remember, our culture celebrates women who never stop, rest, or ask for help. But that old story doesn't work. It's just backwards. Women who create lasting resilience protect their energy, say yes to recovery, and come back better, not just busier. Celebrate women who reinvent themselves with creative recovery. Your setbacks and hard moments aren't just obstacles. They are chances to build a stronger, wiser version of yourself. It's not about surviving. It's about thriving, even after loss. The choice is yours. Keep trying to endure your way to resilience, like draining your battery with nonstop hustle, or embrace creative recovery, transformation, and discover what's possible when you work with your mind and body and not against them. If this episode resonated, share it with another woman who might need this message. Recovery isn't meant to be a solo project. Sometimes giving someone else permission to rest can change everything. If you want more on how to turn your setbacks into something powerful, check the show notes on ways that you connect and possibly work with me. Remember, the strongest women aren't the ones who never break. They are the ones who know how to recover, recharge, and come back brighter. You already have what it takes. Are you ready to try something new? Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, keep turning those setbacks into comebacks, one creative recovery at a time. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for joining us on the Reinvention Lab. If today's episode inspired you, don't forget to follow and share it with someone who's ready to turn their challenges into opportunities. Want to take your journey to the next level? Visit sandylinda.com/program and apply for coaching today. Together, we'll turn your story into a legacy. Until next time, keep moving forward with purpose, passion, and power.